The police officer lays down the law, telling 2 adults they're busted for child violence. 8 kids are now safe in protective custody, snatched from danger. The officer promises a deep dive into the details once they hit the station. Stick around, the drama ramps up from here.
You both are going to be under arrest for child abuse and go with these 2 gentlemen. And all 8 children are now in protective custody. We will have a conversation when I get to the police department.
Okay.
Okay, I know you're gonna be nice, so I'm gonna put it in front for you, okay?
Did you catch that? In a mix of concern and cooperation, someone pleads for their shoes before heading off in the cop car, and the officer agrees, placing the shoes up front for comfort. They make sure the person isn't packing a wallet or anything bulky, just a purse, which gets a quick mention. With a gentle reassurance for CJ's well-being, the officer tries to smooth over nerves. Buckle up, because the emotional roller coaster is just getting started.
I'm just getting my shoes that are that front.
I can grab
you
them.
could probably.
Yeah, I'll just put them up front so it's more comfort for you, okay? Let's go right here. No, we'll get your shoes real quick. You don't have anything on you?
I don't know.
Okay, no wallet, no purse, no nothing?
No.
Okay.
Oh, I have my purse.
Do you want to bring your purse with you?
I mean,
I
yeah.
mean, you may want your wallet.
Yeah, that's fine.
Where is your purse
Your
at?
purse right here.
Okay.
Do you have medication you need to take with you?
No. Please be careful with CJ.
We're gonna see.
That's my job, okay?
This part's a real jaw-dropper. The arrested party launches into a protest, defending their lifelong dedication to children's education and care, declaring the whole situation outrageous and unjust. They're especially worried about CJ, who might be confused by all this chaos. The officer offers calm amidst the storm, promising a chance to sort things out soon. The tension's thickening. Just wait till you see what's next.
This is what I do. I take care of kids. That's all my education. That's everything I've ever done. And this is absurd. And it's not fair. And CJ's the one who doesn't understand. Please.
We'll have a chance to talk to you, okay?
No, I just want him to be protected.
All right, man, we're gonna go out here, okay?
I know.
You won't believe this twist. With their hands cuffed but in front for a tad more dignity, the person is helped into the cruiser and told to buckle up for safety, like it's a trip to the grocery store. The officer chats up another cop about the transport logistics and logs the starting mileage for the ride. Keep your eyes peeled. Their arrival at the station is up next, and it's quite the scene.
All right, since your hands are in the front, go ahead and try to buckle up for me.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You good over there? All right, I'll meet you back at the station. Pretty luck will be 10:15, 1 adult, female, starting mileage is 64815.
How's that for intensity? Upon reaching the station, the video captures the chilly entrance as the officers guide the individual through doors and up the stairs to the processing area. They're all about making sure the person is comfy and getting them smoothly inside without a hitch. Just when you think it's all procedural, the personal touches keep coming. Get ready, because the inside scoop is about to unfold.
Yes, please. We're gonna go to this door right up here. Try to get you inside. It's a little chilly. I'm gonna go up the stairs right here into this door right here. Yep, you're good. You're good.
Sorry, I have a hard time understanding.
You're good. And we'll go through this door right over here.
Gear up for this crucial inside look. Inside the station, our subject is instructed to park it in a designated spot while the officers hash out the booking details over just one count. Seems they're keeping it simple. They make sure the person is settled and prepare for the next steps. Watch closely, because the plot thickens and the next moments are critical.
All right, good. You go ahead and do this door, and then there'll be a seat right there. If you could just sit right there for me. So we're booking them? Yeah, one count. Just one. One count of.
This next segment is where things really heat up. An officer fetches another to do a quick pat-down on the female subject, making sure she's not hiding anything sneaky. It's done with a swift professionalism meant to ensure safety while respecting privacy. The process is quick and respectful, aiming to keep everyone calm and cooperative. Don't go anywhere. The excitement only escalates from here.
I'll have her come in here and go ahead and I'm gonna have her come in here real quick and just pat her down real quick. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna get one of the female officers to come in here just to make sure you don't have anything on you, okay? Give me 1 second.
Can you believe this starts right off the bat? The scene opens with a cop breaking the kind of news you never want to hear. He tells someone off camera that they couldn't bring a child back despite their best efforts. The atmosphere is charged with urgency and sets a somber tone for what's about to unfold. Just when you think it couldn't get more intense, buckle up for the next snippet.
The cop just told me.
What the do you mean?
They cannot resuscitate him. That's what the I mean.
So eventually she unscrewed the top and threw it to the ground and walked up on the porch and under the rope and started dumping the gas all over the porch. So instantly it's like, okay, this is not.
You won't see this twist coming. Suddenly, we're thrown into a grim narrative where a father is accused of murdering his severely undernourished 8-year-old son. Meanwhile, another clip teases an unrelated but equally shocking incident involving attempted arson at Martin Luther King Jr.'s birth home, showcasing the wide range of dramatic events captured by body cams. And guess what? It only spirals from here.
A father charged with the murder of his emaciated 8-year-old son, an attempted arson on the birth home of Martin Luther King Jr., and a Florida city manager who appears to have drunkenly crashed his bicycle. We're taking a look at the top body cam moments from coast to coast with the most shocking and compelling video out there.
Hold on to your coffee. This part's a doozy. We get into the gritty details. 8-year-old Navin Jones was found lifeless, leading to his dad, Brandon Walker, being slapped with a murder charge. With the trial looming, the air is thick with anticipation and dread. As the layers peel back, get ready for an even deeper dive into family secrets.
We begin in Peoria, Illinois, with the death of 8-year-old Navin Jones, who was found unresponsive on March 29th of last year. His father, Brandon Walker, is now charged with his murder. The trial is expected to begin on Monday. The boy's mother, Stephanie Jones, already pleaded guilty to murder charges last week.
Next up, family drama meets courtroom thriller. More info about the family's legal drama is dished out. Navin's mom, Stephanie Jones, has admitted to murder charges and is looking at a hefty time behind bars. Her upcoming testimony against Brandon adds a Shakespearean twist to this modern tragedy. Stick around. The courtroom drama is about to heat up.
She now faces at least 20 years in prison and will likely testify against Walker.
So long story short, last night, 8 p.m., kid was put to bed by mom. She gets her. She's been up. No one's checked on him since she called at like 2, whenever this came in, 2, whatever. Called for him, didn't hear from him, went upstairs, didn't hear from him, went in his room, unresponsive, cold. She puts him in the bathtub because he's cold.
Things get real fast. Body cam footage rolls as first responders find Navin unresponsive. Whispered conversations reveal long-standing custody battles, hinting at a fractured family history that predates this catastrophe. As the plot thickens, prepare for an upcoming revelation that's as shocking as it is heartbreaking.
As body camera video explains, first responders arrived to the Peoria home last year to find the 8-year-old boy unresponsive. Authorities on the scene can be heard saying there has been custody issues with this family in the past.
Just when you thought it couldn't get more intense, investigators are seen discussing Navin's alarming state of malnutrition. Initially, they detect a pulse, sparking a glimmer of hope, but the boy's condition is far too grave, leading to unsuccessful attempts to save him. What comes next is a raw, emotional gut punch you won't want to miss.
Amongst themselves, investigators note the boy is wildly malnourished.
Anything that looks suspicious at all.
At first, authorities say they find a pulse on the boy.
They're going to transport him. Can I get you a coat or anything? Okay.
Brace yourself. This next part is a tearjerker. In a soul-crushing moment, officials inform the parents that despite every effort, Navin couldn't be revived. The parents' visceral reactions to the news are heartbreakingly real and palpable. As the emotional dust settles, the narrative takes a turn towards the legal ramifications.
Ma'am, I'm sorry to have to tell you, but through all our efforts, there's nothing that we can do further.
Oh my God.
Do you guys have time?
The cop just told me.
What the do you mean?
They cannot resuscitate him. That's what the I mean.
The legal hammer is about to drop. As we reel from the emotional turmoil, the focus shifts to the severe legal consequences facing the parents. Brandon Walker might face a lifetime in prison if convicted, while Stephanie Jones is bracing for her sentencing. The stakes are sky high, and up next, we pivot to a scene that's wildly different, yet equally riveting.
There's no f***ing way! There's no f***ing way!
I've been telling you and the DCFS bitch that he needed to be seen.
You guys are putting all your business out in front of everybody.
That his behavior was not normal.
If convicted in his son's death, Brandon Walker could spend the rest of his life behind bars. Stephanie Jones is set to be sentenced in February.
From family tragedy to historical vandalism, the shocks keep coming. We jump to another case involving Lanisha Henderson, who's accused of trying to torch Martin Luther King Jr.'s birth home. This segment highlights the unpredictable and varied nature of crimes captured on body cams. And we're not done yet. More eyebrow-raising action is on the way.
The story made national headlines when the 26-year-old was caught pouring gasoline on King's one-time home in Atlanta. Two retired NYPD officers and tourists from Utah rushed to stop Henderson and detained her as they waited for first responders to arrive.
She came up behind this heavy gas can, and at first she just seemed like she was kind of doing her thing, like I thought she was watering.
I just happened to be using a gas can to water the plants.
And then she had trouble getting it open, so eventually she unscrewed the top and threw it to the ground. So she came back down, she dropped the can in the bushes, and then came back down to grab her lighter.
Video shows officers cuff Henderson and walk her off to a squad car.
Hey man, you alright?
Strap in for a wild ride. The video kicks off with a heart-stopping scene as three kids, Cora, Dawson, and Callan, are found unresponsive, and it's as chaotic as it sounds. Cora's sprawled out on her side, while Dawson and Callan are downright face-planted. The disarray speaks volumes about the turmoil at the scene. You'll want to keep watching. It only gets wilder from here.
Dawson and Callan were face down on the floor. Cora was on her side with her torso turned towards the floor. He removed the bands and begged them to breathe. He continued to scream uncontrollably and screamed for officers to come to the basement. The dispatchers are hearing this and they send help down to the basement, and when they encounter Patrick, he yells out, "She killed the kid."
Hang on to your seats, folks. Patrick is in full-on panic mode, frantically trying to breathe life back into his kids. He's yanking bands off their necks and screaming for help in a frenzy that's both terrifying and heartbreaking. The immediate chaos is palpable, and it's impossible not to feel the tension mounting. Buckle up, because the next moment is a real doozy.
We're learning more gruesome details about the murders of 3 young Massachusetts children as their mother, Lindsay Clancy, is charged in their deaths. In Clancy's first court appearance since the murders, she appeared virtually from her hospital bed.
Next up in this tragic saga, we see Lindsay, intubated and bedridden, awkwardly communicating through a whiteboard in court. Yup, it's as bizarre as it sounds. She scribbles down a question about needing an attorney, which really makes you think about her state of mind. The courtroom tension is palpable, and things are about to get even more intense. Stay tuned.
On Friday, January 27, 2023, using an erasable whiteboard because she was still temporarily intubated, one of the first questions that Lindsay Clancy asked was, "Do I need an attorney?" She knew that she had murdered her children, and she had the clarity, focus, and mental acumen to focus on protecting her own rights and interests.
Let me paint you a picture. It's a normal day, then bam! The prosecution claims Lindsay had been plotting this horror show since January 24th. They suggest she had everything figured out down to the last sinister detail. This calculated intent adds a chilling layer to the narrative, and just when you think it can't get more chilling, the next clip proves us wrong.
Prosecutors outlined the events that led up to the murders on January 24th, alleging Lindsay Clancy meticulously planned the deaths of 5-year-old Cora, 3-year-old Dawson, and 8-month-old Callan before attempting her own suicide by jumping out of a second-story window.
On the morning of Tuesday, January 24th, 2023, the defendant took her 5-year-old daughter Cora to the pediatricians for an appointment. She interacted with a receptionist, nursing staff, and a doctor. There were apparently no issues with the defendant's demeanor or behavior as she completed the appointment and was allowed to leave with Cora without any issues or concerns.
On a lighter note, before the chaos, Lindsay was out building snowmen with her kids, which sounds downright downright idyllic. They snapped pics, texted with dad, and showed no signs of the nightmare to come. It's a stark contrast to the horrors that followed, making you wonder how things took such a dark turn. Fasten your seatbelt. The story takes a sharp turn next.
When she returned home, she went outside with Cora and a 3-year-old son, Dawson, to play in the snow. They built a snowman. The defendant sent photos to her mother and to the defendant, strike that, to her husband. She texted with them. Nothing in the text was out of the ordinary or any sign of any distress or trouble.
After that, prosecutors say Lindsay Clancy searched for the 3V restaurant in Plymouth, about 25 minutes from her home in Duxbury.
She then searched the Takeout 3V via her cell phone at 4:13 p.m. Immediately after doing that, she used Apple Maps on her phone to determine how long it would take someone to drive from her home in Duxbury to 3V restaurant in Plymouth.
Imagine coming home to silence when you're expecting bedtime giggles. That's exactly the eerie calm Patrick faced, which quickly turned into a storm of horror as he discovered the tragedy in the basement. The sudden shift from quiet to chaos is nothing short of cinematic, and just when you think you've seen it all, the next part adds another layer of shock.
When Patrick Clancy returned home, he found a tragic scene.
When he arrived home, the first thing he noticed was the silence. He did not see or hear the defendant or the children. He actually called her cell phone at 6:09 p.m. looking for them, and she did not answer. He went to their bedroom on the second floor and the door was locked. He was able to open it, and when he looked inside, he saw blood on the floor in front of a full-length mirror and the window open. He immediately runs downstairs and into the backyard, where he finds the defendant laying on the ground. She appeared to have cuts on her wrists and neck, but he stated to 911 that those wounds were no longer bleeding.
In a somber turn of events, the worst is confirmed. Cora and Dawson didn't make it, and little Callan followed 3 days later. This heart-wrenching update marks the dreadful finality of their fates. But hold on to your hearts, because the emotional roller coaster isn't over yet.
The dispatchers are hearing this, and they send help down to the basement, and when they encounter Patrick, he yells out, "She killed the kid."
Cora and Dawson were pronounced dead at the hospital the same day. Baby Callan was rushed to Boston Children's Hospital, but died 3 days later. Ahead of their deaths, prosecutors say Clancy spent time in the hospital for mental health issues, but was being treated for her symptoms. She even told her husband she was improving.
According to her husband, she was never on more than 4 to 5 medications at one time, and at the time of the murder, she was taking only 3 medications. And he said to the police that she always took the medications as prescribed.
It's eerily unsettling how normal Lindsay seemed in the days leading up to the tragedy, hanging out with the kids, mingling with the community. No one could have guessed the horrors that were about to unfold. This normalcy makes the ensuing chaos even more jarring. Keep watching as the next segment dives deeper into the intrigue.
After her stay at McLean, the defendant appeared to be getting better, according to her husband. She slept well, interacted with friends and family. She went out with her kids and husband to places like the Kingsbury Club in Duxbury, the Charlie Horse Restaurant, the Museum of Science in Boston, the Cape Codder down the Cape, interacting with her family and the public without any apparent difficulties. She even stayed alone with her children on several occasions without any issues in January of 2023. Her husband asked her in mid-January, "Are you still having suicidal thoughts?" And she said no.
Prosecutors argue Clancy never had hallucinations or delusions before the murders.
It's baffling to think about the amount of time and opportunity Lindsay had to reverse course as she went through with the unthinkable. The prosecution hammers this point home, arguing against any notion of insanity or impulsive action. Just when you think it can't get any more intense, the courtroom drama escalates. You'll want to see this next bit.
After the victim is unconscious, the ligature must be held in place with force, squeezing the neck for up to an additional 4 to 5 minutes to cause death. Therefore, she had to strangle each of them to unconsciousness and then make sure the bands were squeezing their little neck for several minutes. She could have changed her mind at any point during that time and removed those bands from their necks, and she did not. The defendant did not take advantage of the situation when her husband left the home that night. She created the situation, and she used Apple Maps to make sure she would have enough time to strangle each child before her husband returned from where she had sent him. The defendant is a danger to herself and others. She planned these murders, gave herself the time and privacy needed to commit the murders.
In a twist that's as controversial as it is heartbreaking, Lindsay's defense paints a picture of a deeply troubled woman thrust into an unimaginable scenario. They challenge the very foundation of justice, arguing against incarcerating someone in such a vulnerable state. It's a compelling argument that sets the stage for a dramatic judicial decision. The judge's ruling is up next, and it's a must-see.
The defendant shall provide notice to probation 48 hours in advance of any transfer to a different facility. Based on the letter of the doctor, it would appear likely that she would be sent from the hospital setting to a 24/7 rehabilitation facility.
The judge ruled Clancy could be transferred to a different facility or potentially even home confinement as she recovers. Right now, she's due back in court on May 2nd for a probable cause hearing.
Can you believe this? Ruby Franca's controversial parenting style is under the spotlight as she forced her teenage son to sleep on a beanbag for several months and neglected to drop off her 6-year-old daughter's lunch at school. This pattern of behavior sparked a wildfire of public outrage when these videos surfaced years before Frank's dramatic arrest. Just when you think it can't get any wilder, buckle up for the next part.
You've been sleeping on a beanbag.
I've been sleeping on a beanbag since October.
Videos Frankie herself posted describe her controversial parenting style, like forcing her teenage son to sleep on a beanbag for months, or refusing to drop her then 6-year-old daughter's lunch off at school. These videos posted years before she was arrested and charged with aggravated child abuse.
It's downright jaw-dropping. On August 30th, Ruby Franca's 12-year-old son made a daring escape from being bound in duct tape at Jody Hildebrandt's house and ran to a neighbor for help. This led to the arrest of both Franca and Hildebrandt in Evans, Utah, marking a pivotal moment as they face charges of aggravated child violence. Brace yourself. The next clip takes it up a notch.
Both Frankie and her business partner, Jody Hildebrandt, were arrested on August 30th after Frankie's 12-year-old son broke free out of duct tape from Hildebrandt's home and rushed to a neighbor for help.
911, the address of your emergency. Tell me exactly what's happened.
I just had a 12-year-old boy show up here at my front door asking for help.
It happened in the small community of Ivins, Utah, about 4 hours south of Salt Lake City. Frankie and Hildebrandt's self-help parenting and brands spread farther than just the state of Utah, though, as the pair created parenting advice videos for viewers across the country.
You won't believe this one. Back in a 2020 video, Ruby Franca explained that her son Chad had been relegated to sleeping on a beanbag instead of a bed for months as a disciplinary measure. She justified her harsh tactics by claiming Chad couldn't manage to behave properly in a shared room with his brother, Russell. This segment adds depth to the disturbing pattern of severe punishments she dished out to her children, and guess what? It only gets more intense from here.
But this isn't the first time Ruby Frankie's name has made headlines, specifically around alleged child abuse. In 2020, the mother of 6 posted a video to her YouTube page titled "What We Haven't Told You." In the video, she explained her teenage son Chad had been sleeping on a beanbag for months.
You've been sleeping on a beanbag.
I've been sleeping on a beanbag since October, and they gave my room back like 2 weeks ago.
During the video, Frankie had her son explain why the privilege of a bedroom was taken away.
Seriously, how is this even real? The video sheds light on the stark differences in how Franca's children were treated, with Chad being punished by being given a smaller room without basic amenities, while his siblings enjoyed better living conditions. This highlights the extreme lengths Franca went to in her approach to discipline, often stripping away basic comforts. The next part? It's a real doozy.
Frankie then stepped in, explaining why she felt her decision to take away her son's bedroom was justified.
Chad showed that he was not able to manage himself sharing a bedroom with Russell.
So when we moved, the bigger room in the basement was automatically his, and I didn't have a room, but we put one on hold for me.
So a lot of you are like, hey, that's not fair because Chad got the lesser bedroom and Russell got the bigger bedroom. Russell got the big bedroom and Chad got the smaller bedroom. And Russell's bigger bedroom also had a bathroom.
This segment is tough to swallow. Franca discusses an instance where her daughter Eve forgot her lunch, and rather than helping out by bringing it to school, Franca hoped her daughter would learn a harsh lesson by going hungry. This demonstrates her stringent and often punitive parenting style, where she expected her children to face harsh consequences for minor mistakes. But hold on, it spirals even further down from here.
She addressed similar criticism in one of her videos.
Online who hate me, who would like to cancel me, who would like to see me either burn in hell, as I have told, or disappear off the face of the earth, and I'm not going anywhere.
Both Frankie and Hildebrandt now face 6 charges of aggravated child abuse. If convicted, they could face upwards of 15 years in prison and a $10,000 fine per each of those charges.